We're going on the air. Good evening, everybody. Cream of Mush brings you Sharon Whiteside.
Early this morning.
Really?
Doesn't that bird brain of yours ever function?
No, who is it?
Yes, that's right.
Who is it?
I'll get them right away. He wants Players Club cigarettes.
Players Club?
They have them in Kitchener's. I'll get them.
Hello, yes, I'm waiting.
Tell me, Miss Preen, are they bringing him out soon?
We're getting him out right now. He'll be out very soon. Oh, thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. You must be very happy.
Trapped like a rat in this hellhole.
2 o'clock? Yes, I think he could talk then. All right. Well, who do you think that was? Mr. H.G. Wells from London.
Oh, H.G. Wells on our telephone. Oh.
I'll go. This is certainly a busy house.
I've got his orange juice. I've got his orange juice. Thanks, Sarah. Is it fresh? Oh, yes, ma'am.
You move like a broken down truck horse.
His voice, it sounds just the same as on the radio. Oh! Good morning, girls. What do you think? He's getting up and coming out this morning.
You don't mean it.
Oh, can we stay and see him? Why, of course. He'd love it. Girls, do you know what just happened?
I'll be upstairs, Mother, if you need me.
Oh, yes, June. Tell your father he'd better come down, will you? Mr. Whiteside's coming out.
Yes, Mother.
Is he really coming out this morning? I brought him this plant. Do you think it's all right if I give it to him?
Why, I think that would be lovely.
And some calf split jelly.
Why, how nice. Who do you think was on the phone just now? H.G. Wells! Oh! And look at those cablegrams. He's had calls and messages from all over this country and Europe. The New York Times, Felix Frankfurter, Dr. Defoe, the Mount Wilson Observatory. I just can't tell you what's been going on. I'm simply exhausted.
There's a big piece about it in this week's Time. Have you seen it?
No, really?
Your name's in it too, Daisy. Listen. Caustic Sheridan Whiteside, critic, lecturer, wit, radio orator, intimate friend of the great and the near great, last week found his celebrated wit no weapon with which to combat an injured hip. The Falstaffian Mr. Whiteside, trekking across the country on one of his annual lecture tours, met his Waterloo in the shape of a small piece of ice on the doorstep of Mr. and Mrs. Ernest W. Stanley of Visalia, Ohio. Result, canceled lectures and disappointment to thousands of adoring club women in Omaha, Denver, and points west. Further result, the idol of the airwaves rests until further notice in home of surprised Mr. and Mrs. Stanley. Possibility, Christmas may be postponed this year. What's that mean?
A small piece of ice on the doorstep of Mr. and Mrs. Think of it.
Of course, if it were my house, Daisy, I'd put a bronze plate right on the step where he fell.
Of course, I felt terrible about it. He just never goes to dinners anywhere, and he finally agreed to come here, and then this had to happen. Poor Mr. Whiteside. But it's going to be so wonderful having him with us, even for a little while. We'll sit around in the evening and discuss books and plays, all the great people he has known, and he'll talk in that wonderful way of his. He may even read Goodbye, Mr. Chips to us.
Daisy, I can't wait any longer for you, Mr. Whiteside. If he decides... Good morning, lady.
Good morning. Ernest, he's coming out any minute, and H.G. Wells telephoned from London, and we're in time. Look.
Oh, I don't like this kind of publicity at all, Daisy. When do you think he's going to leave?
Well, he's only getting up this morning. After all, he's had quite a shock, and he's been in bed for 2 full weeks. He'll certainly have to rest a few days, Ernest.
I'm sure it's a great honor having him in the house, but it is a bit upsetting. Telephone going all the time, bells ringing, messenger boys running in and out.
Pardon me, Mrs. Stanley. Have the cigarettes come yet?
They're on the way, Miss Cutler. My son went for them.
Thank you.
This is Miss Cutler, Mr. Whiteside's secretary.
Hi. How do you do? May I move this?
You mean he's coming out now?
Oh, he is indeed.
He's coming out. Oh, I can hardly wait. Whiteside's coming out.
There, Mr. Whiteside's coming out.
I'm so excited, I don't know what to do.
Oh, me too.
Good morning, Dr. Bradley.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, here we all are, merry and bright. Bring our little patient out, Miss Breen. I may vomit.
Good morning, Mr. Whiteside. I'm Mrs. Ernest Stanley, remember? And this is Mr. Stanley.
How do you do, Mr. Whiteside? I hope you are better.
Thank you. I'm suing you for $150,000.
How's that? What?
I said I'm suing you for $150,000.
You mean because you fell on our steps, Mr. Whiteside?
Samuel J. Leibowitz will explain it all to you in court. Who are those 2 harpies standing there like the kiss of death?
Oh, dear, my calf's foot jelly.
Made from your own foot, I have no doubt. Now, Mrs. Stanley, a few small matters I must arrange with you, since this corner druggist at my elbow tells me that I must be incarcerated in this moldy mortuary for at least another 10 days. Due entirely to your stupidity and negligence, I shall have to arrange my activities as best I can. I will require the exclusive use of this room as well as that drafty sewer which you call the library. While I am in this room, nobody else must come in or out.
Just what do you mean by that, sir?
We have to go up the stairs to get to our rooms, Mr. Whiteside.
Is there not a back entrance?
Why, yes.
Then use that. I will also require a room for my secretary, Miss Cutler. Let me see, I will have a great many incoming as well as outgoing telephone calls, so nobody else must use the phone. I sleep each day until noon and must have absolute quiet throughout the house until that hour. There will be 5 for lunch today. Where is the cook?
Mr. Whiteside, if I may interrupt for just a moment.
You may not, sir. Will you take your clammy hand off my chair? You have the touch of a sex-starved cobra. And now, will you all please leave quietly, or must I ask my secretary to pass among you with a baseball bat?
Oh, dear. Well, goodbye, Daisy. We'll call you. Oh, no, we mustn't use the telephone. Well, we'll see you.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Just one moment, Mr. Whiteside.
There is nothing further to discuss, sir. Considering the damage I have sustained at your hands, I am asking very little. Good day.
I'll phone you from the office later, Daisy.
Not on this phone, please. Here is the menu for lunch.
But I've already ordered lunch.
It will be sent up to you on a tray. I am using the dining room this afternoon for my guests. Where are those cigarettes?
My son went for them. I don't know why Here, Sarah. Here is the menu for lunch. I'll have mine upstairs on a tray.
Young lady, I cannot stand indecision. Will you kindly go up those stairs or come down them?
Oh, good morning, Mr. Whiteside. Here are the cigarettes. I'm sorry I was gone so long. I had to go to 3 different stores.
You were gone long enough to have a baby. Is there a man in the world who suffers as I do from the gross inadequacies of the human race? What are you doing? Why don't you go in there and read the life story of Florence Nightingale and learn how unfitted you are for your chosen profession?
Well, I guess I can safely leave you in Miss Cutler's capable hands. Shall I look in again this afternoon?
If you do, I shall spit right in your eye.
What a sense of humor you writers have. By the way, it really isn't worth mentioning, but I've been doing a little writing of my own about my medical experiences.
Am I to be spared nothing?
I thought perhaps you could glance over it while you're here. Travis. Well, I just happen to have a copy with me. Story of a humble practitioner for 20 years, an Ohio doctor. Oh!
I shall drop everything.
Oh, well, thank you, and I hope you like it. Now, I'll see you tomorrow, and you keep that hip quiet. Don't forget about those little pills. Goodbye now.
Oh. Here, Maggie, would you take 20 years below the navel or whatever it is?
Well, 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 I must say, you certainly behaved with all of your accustomed grace and charm.
Now, look here, Puss. I am in no mood to discuss my behavior, good or bad. I had no desire to cross this cheerless threshold. I was hounded and badgered into it. Now, I find myself, after 2 weeks of racking pain, accused of behaving without charm. What would you have me do? Kiss them?
Oh, very well, Sherry. After 10 years, I should know better than to try to do anything about your manners. But when I finally give up this job, I may write a book about it all. Through the years with Prince Charming.
Now listen, Repulsive. You are tied to me with an umbilical cord made of piano wire. And now, if we may dismiss the subject of my charm, for which, incidentally, I receive a fee of $1,500 per appearance, perhaps we can get down to work. Oh, no, we can't. Yes?
My name is Harriet Stanley. I know. You're Sheridan Whiteside. I saw this holly framed green against the pine trees. I remembered what you had written about Tess and Jude the Obscure. It was the nicest present I could bring you.
Good God! What was that?
That was Mr. Stanley's sister, Harriet. I've spoken to her a few times, but she's quite strange.
Strange? She's right out of The Hound of the Baskervilles. You know, Maggie, I've seen that face before somewhere.
Oh, nonsense. You couldn't have.
Oh, well. Here, press this in the doctor's book. Now, let's get down to work. I see no reason why I should endorse Maidenform brassieres.
Here are some more telegrams.
What is the date?
December 10th.
Send a wire to Columbia Broadcasting. You may schedule my Christmas Eve broadcast from the New York studios, as I shall return there instead of proceeding to Hollywood. Stop. For special New Year's Eve broadcast, my guests will be Yasha Heifetz, Catherine Cornell, the Luntz, Schiaparelli, and Dr. Alexis Carroll, with Haile Selassie on shortwave radio from London, Whiteside.
Are you sure you'll be all right by Christmas, Sherry?
Of course I shall. Send a cable to Mahatma Gandhi, Bombay, India. Dear Boo-Boo, schedule changed. Can you meet me Calcutta, July 12th, dinner 8:30, Whiteside. Wire to the editor of the Atlantic Monthly. Do not worry, Stinky, copy will arrive, Whiteside. Arturo Toscanini. Where is he?
Oh, I'll find him.
I'm counting on you, January 4th, Metropolitan Opera House, annual benefit Crockfield Home for Paroled Convicts. As you know, this is a very worthy cause, and one very close to my heart. Tibbet, Retberg, Martinelli, and Flagstad have personally promised me to participate. Will you join Ethel Barrymore and me for quiet supper afterward? Whiteside. If that's for Mrs. Stanley, tell them she's too drunk to talk.
Hello. What? It's Hollywood.
If it's Goldwyn, hang up.
Hello, Banjo.
Banjo? Give me that phone.
Banjo, you old so-and-so. How are you, darling?
Come on, give me that.
Shut up, Sherry. Are you coming east, Banjo? I miss you. Oh, he's going to live.
Will you stop driveling and give me the phone?
In fact, he's screaming at me now. Here he is.
Hello, you fawns behind. What are you giving me for Christmas, Banjo? How's the picture coming? How are you getting along with Wacko and Sloppo? What? No, I'm all right. Yes, I'm in very good hands. I've got the best horse doctor in town. What about you? Are you having any fun? Are you playing any cribbage? You what? Well, listen, don't take all his money. Leave some for me. Your what? Having your portrait painted? By whom? Milt Gross? Not really. No, I'm going back to New York from here. I'll be there 10 or 12 days, then I go up to Dartmouth for the drama festival. You wouldn't understand. Well, look, Banjo, my love, I can't waste all my time on chit-chat with Hollywood riffraff. Give Luella Parsons a kiss for me. Goodbye. Thanks for calling. Peggy, guess what? He took $1,400 from Sam Goldwyn last night playing cribbage. And Goldwyn said, Banjo, I will never play garbage with you again.
What's all this about his having his portrait painted?
By Salvatore Dali. You know, that's all that face of his needs, a surrealist to paint it. What do you want now, Miss Bedpan?
It's your pills, one every 45 minutes.
Where were we?
Oh, here's a cable from that dear friend of yours, Lorraine Sheldon.
Oh, let me see it.
Sherry, my poor sweet lamb. Have been in Scotland on a shooting party with Lord and Lady Connaught, and only just heard of your poor sweet hip. I'm down here in Surrey with Lord Bottomley, sailing Wednesday on the Normandy, and cannot wait to see my poor sweet Sherry. Your blossom girl, Lorraine. In the words of the master, I may vomit.
Now, Magpie, don't be bitter just because Lorraine is more beautiful than you are.
Lorraine Sheldon is a very fair example of that small but vicious circle you move in.
Pure sex jealousy, if I ever saw it. Give me the rest of those.
Lorraine Sheldon and Lord Bottomley, my Aunt Fanny.
Ah! It's from Destiny's Tot.
Oh, England's little rover boy.
Dear baby's breath, what is this I hear about a hip fractured in some bordello brawl? Does this mean our Hollywood Christmas party is off? Finished the new play in Pongo Pongo, and it's superb. Myself and a ukulele leave Honolulu tomorrow, in that order. By the way, the Sultan of Zanzibar wants to meet Ginger Rogers. Let's face it, Oscar Wilde.
Oh, he does travel, doesn't he? You know, it would be wonderful if the world went around Beverly Carlton for a change.
Hollywood, next week. Why couldn't he stop by here on his way to New York? Send him a cable. Beverly Carlton, Royal Hawaiian Hotel, Honolulu. Dear... If these people intend to have their friends using the front door,
What do you want them to do? Use a rope ladder?
I will not have a lot of mildewed pus bags running in and out of this house while I'm trying to recuperate.
Good morning, Mr. Jefferson. Good morning, John.
There's nobody home. The Stanleys have been arrested for white slavery. Go away.
Good morning, Mr. Whiteside. I'm Jefferson of the Massalia Journal.
Get rid of him.
I'm sorry, Mr. Whiteside is seeing no one.
Oh, really?
So, will you please excuse us? Good day.
Mr. Whiteside seems to be sitting up and taking notice.
I'm afraid he's not taking notice of the Massalia Journal. Do you mind?
Say, if I'm going to be insulted, I'd rather it be by Mr. Whiteside himself. I never did like carbon copies.
Touché, if I ever heard one. And in Massalia, too, Maggie dear.
Will you please leave?
How about an interview, Mr. Whiteside?
I never give them. Go away.
Mr. Whiteside, if I don't get this interview, I lose my job.
That would be quite all right with me.
Now, you don't mean that. You used to be a newspaper man yourself. Well, you know how editors are. Mine is the toughest one that ever lived.
You won't get around me that way. If you don't like it, get off the paper.
Well, no, I happen to think it's a pretty good paper. William Allen White could have left Emporia, but he didn't.
You have the effrontery in my presence to compare yourself with William Allen White?
Only inasmuch as that White stayed in Emporia. And I'm going to stay here and say the things I want to say.
Such as what?
Well, it's difficult to put into words, and it sounds like so much hooey. But, well, you see, the Journal was my father's paper. So it's kind of a sentimental thing with me, the paper. I just want to carry on where he left off.
Then you own the paper, eh?
That's right.
So this dread journalistic apocalypse, this fierce editorial presence, is you yourself.
In a word, yes.
I see.
In the future, Sherry, when you don't want to talk to people, please let me know, and I'll usher them right in.
Young man, come over here. I suppose you have written that novel.
No. I've written that play.
Well, I don't want to read it. Do these tired eyes spot a dish of goodies over there? Hand it to me, will you?
You know, Mr. Whiteside, the trouble with you being in this town is that it comes under the heading of news. Probably the biggest news since the Depression. I've just got to get a story.
Oh, pecan butternut.
Mr. Whiteside, you mustn't eat candy. It's very bad for you.
My dear Miss Preen, my great-aunt Jennifer ate a whole box of candy every day of her life. She lived to be 102. And when she had been dead for 3 days, she looked better than you do now. Now, what were we saying, old fellow? You were about to say...
Well, I can at least report to my readers that chivalry is not yet dead.
We won't speak about that. Well, now that you have got around me with your pretty ways, what would you like to know?
All right, how about a short talk on famous murders? You are an authority on murder as a fine art.
My dear young man, when I talk about murder, I get paid for it. I have made more money out of the Snyder Gray case than the lawyers have, so don't expect to get it for nothing.
Okay, how about, how do you find Massalia? How long are you going to stay? Where do you go from here? Things like that.
Very well. A, Massalia is a town of irresistible charm. B, I cannot wait to get out of it. C, from here I go to Crockfield for my semi-annual visit to the Crockfield Home for Paroled Convicts, an institution for which I have raised $500,000 in the past 5 years. After that, I shall go on to New York. Have you ever been to Crockfield, Jefferson?
No, I haven't. I always meant to, though.
As a newspaper man, you ought to go there sometime, instead of wasting your time here with me. It's only about 75 miles from here. Did you ever hear the story of how Crockfield started?
No, I didn't.
Sit down, Jefferson. Make yourself comfortable. It is one of the heartwarming, endearing stories of our era. On a frosty St. Valentine's Eve, the year was 1901, a little old lady who had given her name to an era, Victoria, lay dying in Windsor Castle. Maud Adams had yet to set every young heart aflutter as she traipsed across the stage in Peter Pan. Irving Berlin had yet to write the first note of a ragtime rigadoon that would soon be on everybody's lips. And Elias P. Crockfield was just emerging from the state penitentiary. Embittered, hard of heart, destitute, he wandered on that St. Valentine's Eve into a little church. But there was no godliness in his soul, no prayer upon his lips. In the faltering twilight, he made his way to the poor box. With callous fingers, he ripped apart this poignant testimony to a simple people's faith and clutched within his greedy fingers the pitiful few coins within it. Then, a child's wavering treble cut the twilight stillness. "Please, Mr. Man," a little girl's voice said, "won't you be my Valentine?" Elias P. Crockfield whirled. There stood before him a bewitching little creature of 5. Her yellow hair cascading over her shoulders like a golden Niagara, and in her outstretched fist was clutched a humble valentine. That crystal moment, a sealed door opened within the heart of Elias P. Crockfield, and in his brain was born an idea. 25 years later, 3,000 ruddy-cheeked convicts played upon the broad lawns of Crockfield home, frolicked in the cool depths of its swimming pool, or broadcast with their own symphony orchestra over their own radio station. Elias P. Crockfield has long since gone to his maker. But that little girl of 5, now grown to glorious womanhood, is known as the Angel of Crockfield, for she is the wife of the warden. And in the main hall of Crockfield Manor, between a Rembrandt and an El Greco, in a simple wooden frame, hangs that humble Valentine.
And in the men's washroom every Christmas Eve, the ghost of Elias P. Crockfield appears in one of the stalls. Sign this, please.
This aging debutante, Mr. Jefferson, I retain in my employ only because she is the sole support of her two-headed brother.
I understand. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Whiteside. You have been more than kind. Oh, by the way, I'm a cribbage player if you need one while you're here.
Fine. How much can you afford to lose?
No. I usually win.
We won't speak about that. Come back at 8:30. We'll play three-handed with Elsie Dinsmore.
Jerry!
Metz? Metz, you incredible beetle hound! What are you doing here?
I explained, Jerry. But first, I kiss my little Maggie.
Metz, darling, what a wonderful surprise.
The enchanted Metz. Jefferson, you are in the presence of Professor Adolf Metz, the world's greatest authority on insect life.
How do you do?
How do you do? Well, Sherry.
Metz, stop gazing at me adoringly and tell me what you're doing here.
You're sick, Sherry, so I come to cheer you.
Jefferson, he lived for 2 years in a cave with nothing but plant lice. He rates 3 pages in the Encyclopedia Britannica. Don't you, my little hookworm?
Please, Sherry, you embarrass me. Look, I have brought you a present to file over the hours, please. I said to my students, I said, boys and girls, I want to give a present to my sick friend, Sheridan Whiteside. So you know what we did? We made for you a community of Periplaneta Americana, commonly known as the American cockroach. Behold, Sherry, Roach City! Inside here are 10,000 cockroaches.
10,000, Sarah, you're not going to believe it.
And in 1 week, if all goes well, there may be 50,000.
If all goes well, what could go wrong? I mean, they're in there, aren't they?
Quiet, please.
You can watch them, Sherry, while they live out their whole lives. There's their maternity hospital. It is fascinating. They do everything that human beings do.
Oh, well.
Maggie, please. These are my cockroaches.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Vance.
These earphones, you can listen to the mating calls. There are microphones down inside. Listen.
My God! How long has this been going on?
Better Planeta Americana. There are cockroaches in this house.
I beg your pardon. Mr. Whiteside, I don't know who this man is, but I will not stand here and...
Then go upstairs. Ah, these must be my luncheon guests. Metz, you're staying for the day, of course.
Certainly.
Stay for lunch, Jefferson?
Glad to.
Good. Maggie, tell them there'll be 2 more. Come right in, Baker. Good morning, gentlemen. Jefferson, these are the fruits of that humble Valentine. These men, serving out the last months of their sentences, have elected to enter the ivy-covered walls of Crockfield and have come here today to learn from me a little of its tradition. Gentlemen, I envy you your great adventure. You're Michelson, aren't you? Butcher shop murders?
Yes, sir.
Thought I recognized you.
My God, man. I've seen more hair in a cue ball.
Jefferson, that other fellow is Henderson, the hatchet fiend. Always chop them up in a salad bowl, remember?
Yeah. You look pretty good in a Caesar salad, baby.
Lunch is ready, Mr. Whiteside.
Good. Let's go right in, gentlemen.
May I help you?
Oh, thank you. We're having chicken livers tetrazzini and cherries jubilee for dessert. I hope every little tummy is aflutter with gastric juices. John, draw the curtains, will you please? I don't want a lot of people prying on their betters. I was dreaming of Lillian Russell, and I awake to find you.
Your medicine, Mr. Whiteside?
What time is it?
About 6:30.
Where's Miss Cutler?
She went out
Out?
with Mr. Jefferson.
All right if I turn the lights up, Mr. Whiteside?
Yes, John. Yes, go right ahead.
And Sarah has something for you, Mr. Whiteside. Made it special.
She has? Ah, my souffle queen. Where is she?
Here I am, Mr. Whiteside!
She walks in beauty like the night. And in those deft hands there is the art of Michelangelo. Let me taste the new goodie. Poetry, Sarah. Sheer poetry.
I put a touch of absinthe in the dough. Do you like it?
Ambrosia.
And I got you your Terrapin Maryland for dinner.
Sarah, I have known but 3 great cooks in my time. The Khedive of Egypt has one. My great-aunt Jennifer had another. The 3rd, Sarah, is you.
Why, Mr. Whiteside?
Listen, why don't you come to New York and work for me, you and Johnny?
Why, Mr. Whiteside?
Sarah.
Why, it kind of takes my breath away.
Well, it would be wonderful, Mr. Whiteside, but what would we say to Mr. and Mrs. Stanley?
Just goodbye.
Well, they'd be awfully mad, wouldn't they? They've been very kind to us.
Well, if they're ever in New York, we can have them in for dinner if I'm not in town. Now look, run along and think it over. And don't say anything to anybody else, just keep it among the 3 of us. And put plenty of sherry in that terrapin, Sarah. Miss Preen. Miss Preen!
Yes, sir? Yes, sir?
What have you got in there anyway? A sailor?
I was just washing my hands.
How long ago did Miss Cutler go out?
A couple of hours ago.
Did Mr. Jefferson call for her?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. Go back to your sex life.
Dear Mr. Whiteside, may I show you a few mementos of the past? I somehow feel that you would love them as I do.
Why, certainly, Miss Stanley. Miss Stanley, haven't we met somewhere before?
Oh, no. I would have remembered. It would have been a cherished memory. Like these. Look. Here I am with my first sweetheart under our lovely beechwood trees. I was 8 and he was 10. I have never forgotten him. Oh, what happy times we had. What...
I tell you, I'm going to.
There's someone coming. I'll come back.
Mr. Whiteside, I want to talk to you. I don't care if you're busy or not. I have stood everything I'm going to stand from you.
Indeed.
This is the last straw. I've just received a phone bill from the phone company for $784. Oklahoma City, Calcutta, Hollywood, Australia, Rome, Morrisville, Pennsylvania, New York, New York, New York, New York, New York, New York, New York. Mr. Whiteside, I realize you are a distinguished man of letters.
Yes, of course, we both do.
Please. But in the past week, our souls have not been our own. We haven't had dinner in the dining room once. I have to tiptoe out of the house in the morning.
Now, Ernest.
I come home and there are convicts at my dinner table. Butcher shop murderers, and a man putting cockroaches in my kitchen.
They just escaped, Ernest.
That's not the point. I go upstairs to my bathroom, and there are 22 Chinese students that you invited here. I tell you, I won't stand for it anymore. I don't care who you are.
Have you quite finished?
No, I have not. This morning, I go into the basement, and I trip over that damn octopus that Mr. Beebe sent you. I tell you, I won't put up with it anymore. I want you out of this house as soon as possible and moved into a hotel. Daisy, stop pawing me! That's all I have to say to you, Mr. Whiteside.
And quite enough, I should think. May I remind you once again, Mr. Stanley, I am not a willing guest in your house. I am told by my doctors that I must remain inactive for at least another 10 days. After which time, I shall get out of here so fast the wind will knock you over, I hope. If, however, you insist upon my leaving earlier, thus causing me to suffer a relapse, I shall be forced to sue you for every additional day in which I must remain inactive, which will amount, I assure you, to a tidy sum.
This is an outrage. An outrage!
As to the details of your petty list of complaints, may I inform you that those 22 Chinese students came here directly from the White House, where I assure you they also used the bathroom.
Mr. Whiteside, I'm sure my husband didn't mean to insinuate that anything like that.
I meant every word of it.
There is one tiny detail in your tawdry list in which I see some slight justice. I do not expect you to pay for my telephone call. I shall see that full restitution is made. Can you furnish me with the exact amount?
I certainly can, and I certainly will.
Good. I will instruct my lawyers to deduct it from the $150,000 I'm suing you for.
Oh, now, Ernest!
And I'll thank you not to trip over that octopus, which once belonged to Chauncey Depew.
You mustn't get excited. Remember, Mr. Whiteside is a guest here.
Get me the Massalia Journal, please. Hello, Journal? May I speak with Mr. Jefferson? He's not there. When do you expect him? All right, no message. Thank you. Oh, come here, you two. Come on, I'm not going to bite you. Look, I am by nature a gracious and companionable person. If I veer from it, it's on the side of kindness and hospitality. Been observing you two for the past week, and you strike me as two completely likable young people. I am afraid that when we first met, I was distinctly unpleasant to you. For that, I am sorry. And I would appreciate it if you would not treat me like something out of Edgar Allan Poe. How do you like my new tie?
Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. This makes things much pleasanter. And I think the tie is very pretty.
Well, now that we're on speaking terms, Mr. Whiteside, I don't mind telling you that I've been admiring all your ties.
You like this one?
Oh, I certainly do.
It shall be yours.
Well, thank you.
You know, this baseless canard that I am a difficult person is pure fabrication. Been ice skating, have you? Me. I used to cut figure eights myself, arm in arm with Betsy Ross, waving the flag behind us.
It was wonderful on the ice today. Miss Cutler and Mr. Jefferson were there.
Maggie? Ice skating?
Yes, she's good, too. I got a marvelous picture of her.
Were they still there when you left?
I think so.
Yes, they were.
Mr. Whiteside, would you mind if I took your picture? I would love to have one.
Certainly. Would you like my profile?
I'm afraid you're done for, Mr. Whiteside. My brother's a camera fiend.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Whiteside. I got a great one.
Good.
Hello, Miss Cutler.
Oh, hello there. Good evening, Sherry dear. Really, Sherry, you've got this place looking like an old parrot cage. Did you nap while I was out? What's the matter, dear cat? Run away with your tongue.
Don't look at me with those great cow eyes, you sex-ridden hag. Where have you been all afternoon? Alley-catting around with Bert Jefferson?
Sherry, Bert read his play to me this afternoon, and it's superb. I mean, it's just not that play written by a newspaper man. It's truly superb. I want you to read it tonight. It just cries out for Cornell. Will you send it to her, Sherry? And will you read it tonight?
No, I will not read it tonight, or any other time. And while we're on the subject of Mr. Jefferson, you might ask him, Maggie, if he wouldn't like to start paying your salary, since he takes all your time.
Oh, come now, Sherry. It isn't as bad as that.
I've not even known where to find you, Maggie, not knowing what haylofts you frequent.
Stop behaving like a spoiled child.
Take that patronizing tone with me, you flea-bitten Cleopatra. I'm sick and tired of your sneaking around like a lovesick high school girl every time my back is turned.
Well, Sherry, I'm afraid you've hit the nail on the head.
Stop acting like Zazu Pitts and explain yourself.
I'll make it quick, Sherry. I'm in love.
Nonsense. This is merely delayed puberty.
No, Sherry, I'm afraid this is it. You're about to lose a very excellent secretary.
You're out of your mind.
Yes, you know, I think I am a little. But I'm a girl who's waited a long time for this to happen, and it finally has. Mr. Jefferson doesn't know it yet, but he's about to lose a very, very excellent secretary.
Is that all?
Well, yes. Except that I suppose this is what might be called my resignation, as soon as you found someone else.
Now, see here, Maggie. You and I have been together for a long time. You are absolutely indispensable to me. But I think I am unselfish enough not to let that stand in the way where your true happiness is concerned. Because whether or not you know it, my dear, I happen to feel a deep affection for you.
I know that, Sherry.
That being the case, Maggie, I cannot sit idly by and allow you to make a fool of yourself.
I'm not, Sherry.
You are, my dear. You're behaving like a Booth Tarkington heroine. It's absolutely incredible. I cannot believe that a girl who, for the past 10 years, has had the great of the world served up on a platter before her. I cannot believe it is anything but a temporary insanity when you're swept off your feet in 7 days by a small-town second-rate newspaper man.
Sherry, I can't explain what's happened. I can only tell you that it's so. I can hardly believe it myself. I mean, here I am, a hard-bitten old cynic, behaving like True Story magazine and loving it. Discovering the moon, ice skating. I keep laughing to myself all the time. But there it is. What can I do about it, Sherry? I'm in love.
You're leaving here tomorrow. Hip or no hip, we're getting out of here tomorrow. I don't care if I fracture the other one. Get me train schedules and start packing. I'll pull you out of this, Miss Stardust. I'll get the ants out of those moonlit pants.
It's no good, Sherry. It just isn't any good. I'd be back on the next Streamline train.
Maggie, it's completely unbelievable. Can you see yourself as the wife of the editor of the Massalia Journal, having an evening at home for Mr. and Mrs. Stanley, Mr. and Mrs. Poopface, and the members of the Book of the Month Club?
Sherry, I've had 10 years of the great figures of our time. And don't think I'm not grateful to you for it. Oh, they've been wonderful years, Sherry. Gay, stimulating. I don't think anyone has had as much fun as we've had. But a girl can't laugh all the time, Sherry. There comes a time when she wants Bert Jefferson. Oh, you don't know Bert, Sherry. He's gentle and unassuming. And well, I love him, that's all.
I see. Well, I remain completely unconvinced. You are drugging yourself into this Joan Crawford fantasy. And before you become completely anesthetized, I shall do everything in my power to bring you to your senses.
Now listen to me, Whiteside. I know you, so just lay off. I know what a devil you can be. I've seen you do it to other people, but don't you dare do it to me. Don't drug yourself into the idea you're thinking of my happiness. You're thinking of yourself a little bit too, in all those months of breaking in somebody new. Well, I've seen you in a passion before when your life was disrupted and you couldn't dine in Calcutta on July 12th with Boo Boo. Oh, that's just too bad, but there it is. I'm going to marry Bert if he'll have me. And don't you dare try any of your tricks, because I'm on to every one of them. So just lay off. That's my message to you, Big Lord Fauntleroy.
Long distance, please. I want to place a transatlantic call. Transatlantic operator? This is Massalia 142. I want to place a call to Miss Lorraine Sheldon, S-H-E-L-D-O-N. She's on board the Normandy. It sailed from Southampton day before yesterday. Will it take long? All right, call back then when it's set up. My name is Whiteside. Thank you.
Good evening, John.
Good evening, Doctor.
Well, good evening, Mr. Whiteside.
Go away, I'm busy, Doctor.
Now, what's the best news I could possibly bring you?
You have hydrophobia.
Oh, no, Mr. Whiteside. You're a well man. You can get up and walk now, and you can leave here tomorrow.
What do you mean?
Well, sir, I was looking at those x-rays again this afternoon. And you know what? I was looking at the wrong x-rays. I was looking at old Mrs. Moffat's x-rays. You are perfectly, absolutely well.
Lower your voice, will you?
What's the matter? Aren't you pleased?
Delighted, naturally. But this is a bit of unexpected news, Doctor. It comes at a curious moment in time. Doctor, I have good news for you, too. I've been reading your book. 20 years...
An Ohio doctor, yes.
Yes. Dr. Bradley, I find it extremely close to being one of the great literary contributions of our time. Mr. Whiteside. So strongly do I believe in it, Doctor, that I have a proposition to put to you. Just here and there, the book is a little uneven, a little rough. What I would like to do is stay here in Massalia and work with you on it.
Mr. Whiteside, I'd be terribly honored.
Yes, but there is one slight difficulty. If my radio sponsors, my lecture bureau, were to find out that I am completely well, they would insist upon my following out my contract, and I would have to leave Massalia immediately. Therefore, we must not tell anyone, not anyone at all, that I am well.
I see.
Not even Miss Cutler, you understand?
I won't tell a soul. I won't even tell my wife.
That's fine.
Mr. Whiteside, when do we start work? Tonight? I've got just one patient that's dying, and then I'm going to be perfectly free.
Tomorrow morning, Doctor. Tomorrow morning. Would you forgive me? This is a private call.
Oh, tomorrow it is. I'll be so proud to work with you, Mr. Whiteside. So proud.
Yes.
Good morning,
Very
now.
proud. Tomorrow morning, Doctor. Hello? Yes, this is Whiteside speaking. All right, put them through. Is this my Blossom girl? How are you, my darling? Yes, it's Sherry. Yes, I'm still out here. No, I'm all right. Yes, better than I thought I was. Lorraine, dear, when does your boat land in New York? Wednesday. That's fine. Now listen closely, my pet. I've got great news for you. I've discovered a wonderful new play out here with an enchanting part in it for you. Cornell would give her eye teeth to play it, but I think I can get it for you. Isn't that exciting, my pet? No. The author is a young, attractive man here, and it just takes a bit of doing, my dear, and you're the girl that can do it. That's right. No, don't thank me. Now listen, don't send me any messages. As soon as you arrive in New York, hop on a train and get out here as fast as you can. Just arrive. All right, my love. I look forward to seeing you. Enjoy your trip now, and hurry to Sherry. Goodbye. Good evening, Miss Preen. God, you're looking radiant tonight. On the hatch.
Sherry, I'm sorry for what I said before. I'm afraid I was a little unjust.
It's all right, Maggie dear. We all lose our patience now and then.
Bert and I were going to go out to a movie and then to dinner, but we'll come back here and play cribbage with you instead.
Fine.
See you soon, Sherry dear. Bye.
Bye.
La donna è mobile, qual piuma al vento, muto d'accento e di pensiero.
Well, I guess that's all there are, Miss Cutler. They're all under the tree.
Oh, thank you, John.
My, I've never seen anybody get so many presents. I can hardly wait to see what's in them.
When will Mr. Whiteside open them, Miss Cutler?
Well, you see, John, Christmas is Mr. Whiteside's personal property. He invented it, and it belongs to him. The first thing tomorrow morning, Mr. Whiteside will open each and every one of those packages, and then there'll be the goddamnedest fuss you ever saw.
My, look who he's got presents from. Shirley Temple, William Lyon Phelps, Billy Rose, Ethel Waters, Somerset Maugham. My, I can hardly wait for tomorrow. My, it certainly is wonderful, and Mr. Whiteside's tree is so beautiful, too. The Stanleys had to put theirs in their bedroom, you know. They can hardly undress at night.
Good evening, John.
Good evening, Mr. Jefferson. Merry Christmas.
Hello, Maggie.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Jefferson.
Oh. Merry Christmas, Sarah. Oh, say, business is good, isn't it? It is amazing what a little quiet blackmail and a weekly radio hour can get you. What did his sponsors give?
Oh, a full year's supply of their product, cream of mush.
Well, we'll give it right back to them over the air.
Oh, wait until you hear tonight's broadcast, old fellow. It's so sticky, I still haven't been able to get it off my fingers since I copied it.
I'll bet. Listen, Maggie, I'll come clean. Under the influence of God knows what, I have just bought you a Christmas present.
Why, Mr. Jefferson, sir.
Now, before I throw away my hard-earned cash, I would like you to take a look at it. Could you come downtown with me for a few moments?
Oh, Bert, this is so sweet of you. I'm truly touched. What is it? I can't wait.
A 2-year subscription to Pick, Click, Look, and Listen. Come on, you think I'm going to tell you? Come on down and see.
All right. Sherry, I'm going out for a few minutes with Horace Greeley. I won't be long.
Noel, Mr. W. How about some cribbage after your broadcast tonight?
No, I will not play cribbage with you, Klondike Harry. Where are you going now, Madam Butterfly?
I'm being given a Christmas present. Anything you want downtown?
Yes, bring baby a lollipop. What are you giving me for Christmas, Jefferson? I have enriched your feeble life far beyond your capacity ever to repay me.
Yeah, that's the way I had it figured, so I'm giving you nothing.
I see. Well, I was going to give you my old truss, but now I shan't. Maggie, what time are those radio men coming?
Oh, about 6:30, but I'll be here. Oh, you're going to have to cut, Sherry. You're about 4 minutes over. And by the way, there's a cable here from Beverly Carlton. He doesn't know what train he can get out of Chicago, but he should be here sometime this evening.
Oh, will he be able to stay overnight?
No, he has to get right out again. He's sailing Friday on the Normandy.
Can I peek in the window when he gets here? Beverly Carlton used to be one of my heroes.
Used to be, you ink-stained hack. Beverly Carlton is the finest talent working the English theater today. Take this illiterate numbskull out of my sight, Maggie dear, and please don't bring him back.
Oh, no, Mr. Whiteside, I won't come back. Not until Beverly Carlton gets here.
Where are we going, Bert? What did you get? I feel like a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah, you look a little like a 10-year-old kid now, too, baby.
Get me the Mansion House Hotel, please. No, I don't know the number. Hello, Mansion House? Has Miss Sheldon arrived yet? Yes, that's right. Miss Lorraine Sheldon from New York. She hasn't, eh? All right, thank you. Coming into a room like that. Don't you knock before you come into a room?
But I wasn't coming in. I was coming out.
Miss Preen, you are obviously in this room. That is true, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Therefore, you came in. Hereafter, please knock.
There's some expressmen here with a crate, Mr. Whiteside. I told them to come around front.
Thank you, John. Well, don't just stand there, Miss Preen. You look like a frozen custard. Go away.
Yes, sir.
Bring it right in here. Careful now. Don't scrape the walls. Why, it's some kind of animal.
I'll say it's some kind of animals. We had to feed them at 7 o'clock this morning. Who's it from, John?
Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Say.
Bring it over here.
Why, they're penguins. 2, 3, 4 penguins. Hello, my pretties.
Directions for feeding are right on the top. Be careful. A couple of them slats are loose.
To be fed only whale blubber, eel, and cracked lobster.
They had Coca-Cola this morning. I liked it.
Hello. You know, John, they make the most entrancing companions. I want them right in the library with me. Take them right in.
Yes, sir.
And I guess you better tell Sarah to order a couple dozen lobsters.
Yes, sir.
I don't suppose there's any whale blubber in this town.
Good evening.
Oh, yes, there is.
The door was open, so Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. You don't happen to know if eels are in season, do you, Doctor?
How's that?
Never mind, I was a fool to ask you.
I opened those two slats a little, Mr. Whiteside. The penguins seem so crowded in there.
Thank you, John.
Mr. Whiteside.
I'm very sorry you happened to drop in just now, Doctor. I must now begin my yogi exercises for the day.
But Mr. Whiteside, it's been a week now. My book. You know, when are we going to start work on my book? I thought... good evening, Miss Breen.
Good evening, Dr. Bradley. Doctor, perhaps I'm not well, but when I opened the doors just now, I thought I saw a penguin with a thermometer in his mouth.
What's this? Have those penguins escaped?
Penguins? Did you say penguins?
Yes. Doctor, would you go in and capture them, please, and put them back in their crate? There are 4 of them.
Capture the penguins?
Yes. Yes. Miss Breen, would you entertain them, please, until I come in?
Yes, sir.
The Christmas tree in the bedroom just fell on Mr. Stanley. He's got a big bump on his forehead.
Why isn't that too bad? Go right ahead, Doctor. Go on, Miss Breen.
Hello, Mr. Whiteside.
Hello, Dickie, my boy.
Mr. Whiteside, we have some time later?
I don't know, Doctor. I'm busy right now.
Well, suppose I wait a little while. I'll wait a little while.
Dr. Bradley is the greatest living argument for mercy killings. Sit down, Richard. What do you want this evening? A close-up of my left nostril?
No, I have enough of those. Would you care to look at some new ones I've taken?
I certainly would. Why, these are splendid, Richard. There's real artistry in them. I've liked all the stuff you've shown me. It's as good as anything by Margaret Burke White. This is the essence of photographic journalism.
Say, I didn't know they were that good. I just like to take pictures, that's all.
Ah, wonderful. Richard, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. You're not just a kid fooling around with a camera anymore. These are good. This is what you should do. You ought to get out of here and do some of the things you were telling me about. Get on a boat. Get off wherever it stops. Galveston, Hong Kong, Singapore. Just work your way and take pictures. Millions of pictures. Terrible pictures. Wonderful pictures. Everything.
Say, wouldn't I like to, though? It's what I've been dreaming of for years. If I could do that, I'd be the happiest guy in the world.
Well, why can't you do it? If I were your age, I'd do it like a shot.
Well, you know why. Dad.
Richard, do you want to do this more than anything else in the world?
I certainly do.
Then do it.
Hello, Dick. Good afternoon, Mr. Whiteside.
Hello, my lamb. I'm afraid it's up to you, Richard.
I guess it is. Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. You've been swell, and I'll never forget it.
Righto, Richard.
June, are you coming upstairs soon?
In a few minutes, Richard.
Stop by my room, will you? I want to talk to you.
Yes, I will. Mr. Whiteside.
June, my lamb, you were too young to know about the Elwell case, weren't you? Completely fascinating. I have about 5 favorite murder cases, and the Elwell case is one of them. Would you like to hear about it?
No, I wanted to talk to you, Mr. Whiteside, if you wouldn't mind, for a few minutes. It's important.
Why, of course, June. I take it this is about your young Lothario down at the factory.
Yes. I just can't seem to make Father understand. It's like talking to a blank wall. He won't meet with him. He won't even talk about it. What are we going to do, Mr. Whiteside? Sandy and I love each other. I don't know where to turn.
June, I'd feel better about discussing this with you if I had met the young man. I'd like to see him for myself.
Would you, Mr. Whiteside? Would you meet him? He's just outside. He's in the kitchen.
Good. Bring him in.
Mr. Whiteside, he's a very sensitive boy. You will be nice to him, won't you?
Damn it, June. When will you learn that I am always kind and considerate? Bring the idiot in.
Here he is, Mr. Whiteside. This is Sandy.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do, young man? I want to tell you something. I've been hearing an awful lot about you from June this past week. If my sources of information are correct, it would seem that you two young babes in the woods have quietly lost your minds.
There's another name for it. It's called love.
Well, you've come to the right place. Dr. Sheridan Whiteside. Broken hearts mended, tires recapped, hamburgers. Sit down. Now go right ahead.
Well, if June has told you anything at all, Mr. Whiteside, well, you know the jam we're in. You see, I work for the labor union, Mr. Whiteside. I'm an organizer, see? I've been organizing the men in Mr. Stanley's factory, and Mr. Stanley's pretty sore about it.
I'll bet.
Oh, did June tell you that?
Yes, she did.
Well, that being the case, Mr. Whiteside, I don't think I have the right to try to influence June. If she marries me, it'd mean a definite break with her family, and well, I don't want to bring that about. But the trouble is, Mr. Stanley is so stubborn about it, so arbitrary. You know, this isn't something I've done just to spite him. We fell in love with each other. But Mr. Stanley behaves as though we're all a big plot, like John L. Lewis sent me here just to marry his daughter.
He's tried to fire Sammy twice down at the factory, but he couldn't on the account of the Wagner Act, thank God.
Yes, he thinks I wrote that, too.
If he'd only let me talk to him. If he'd let Sandy talk to him.
Well, June, we've gone all over that before. Anyway, this morning, I got word that I'm needed in Chicago. I had to go to Frisco from there, so you see the jam that we're in.
Sandy's leaving tonight, Mr. Whiteside. He'll probably be gone a whole year. We've simply got to decide now.
My dear, that makes it absolutely simple. There's no problem at all. Now, to my jaundiced eye, what you two have...
Oh, hello? Yes, he is. It's a long-distance call. Who's calling? Oh, it's Walt Disney from Hollywood.
Thank you, June. Hello, Walt. How's my little dash of genius? How did you find me? Yeah, of course I was hoping you would. Wouldn't be Christmas without this call from you. No, I'm all right. Yes, doing fine here. I'm ready if you are. Couple more seconds? All right. Mr. Disney calls me every year at Christmas time. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, yes, I hear it. Sounds just like static. Yeah, June. Wonderful old fellow. Just as good as usual. Yes, indeed. Walt, what's new in Hollywood? Who's in Lana Turner's sweater these days? Oh, I see. Well, Merry Christmas to you, old fellow. And listen, don't feel bad about Fantasia. It wasn't your fault. Beethoven hasn't written a hit in years. Thanks again for calling, Walt. Goodbye and Merry Christmas. June, do you know what that was you listened to? That was the voice of Donald Duck.
Not really.
Yes. Mr. Disney calls me every year at Christmas time, no matter where I am, just so I can hear that. 2 years ago, I was walking on the bottom of the ocean floor in a diving suit with William Beebe. But he got me. Well, where were we? Oh, yes. June, I like you, young man. I think you two will be very happy together. Whatever his beliefs are, he's entitled to them, and you shouldn't let that or anything else stand in your way. I don't see that there's any problem. Stripped of its externals, what does it come down to? Your father. The possibility of making him unhappy. Isn't that right?
Very unhappy.
But that's beside the point. Suppose your parents are unhappy. It's good for them. Develops their characters. Look at me. I left home at the age of 4 and haven't been back since. They hear me on the radio, and that's enough for them.
So, then your advice is to go ahead, Mr. Whiteside?
It is. Marry him tonight, June.
You mean that, Mr. Whiteside?
No, I mean you should marry Hamilton Fish. Of course I mean it, or I wouldn't have said it. What do you want me to do, say it all over again? In my opinion, you may not be worthy of this young man.
Come along, Daisy.
Oh, there's Dad.
Forgive us for trespassing, Mr. Whiteside.
Not at all, old fellow, not at all. It's Christmas, you know. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Would you like to come along with us, June? We're taking some presents over to the Dexters.
No, thank you, Mother. I have to write some letters.
Come along, Daisy.
Why, Mr. Stanley, what happened to your forehead? Did you have an accident?
No, Mr. Whiteside, I'm taking boxing lessons. Go ahead, Daisy.
Dear Mr. Whiteside, I've been trying all day to see you. Oh, to give you this.
Why, Miss Stanley, what, a Christmas present for me?
It's only a trifle, but I wanted you to have it. It's a picture of me, as I used to be. It was taken on another Christmas Eve, many, many years ago. Don't open it until the stroke of midnight, will you? Oh, Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Miss Stanley, and thank you.
This is Stanley residence, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'd like to see Mr. Whiteside. Could you tell him Miss Sheldon is here?
Lorraine, my blossom girl.
Oh, Sherry, my sweet. Darling, look at that poor, sweet, tortured face. Oh, let me kiss it. You poor darling, how drawn you are. Oh, Sherry, my sweet, I want to cry.
All right, dear, you've made your grand entrance. Now, relax.
Oh, but darling, I've been so worried, and now seeing you in that chair.
This chair fits my fanny as nothing else ever has. I feel better than I have in years. My only concern is news of the outside world. So, peel off that skunk and tell me everything. How are you, my dear?
Darling, I'm so relieved. Well, you look perfectly wonderful. I never saw you look better. Oh, my dear, do I look a wreck. I just dashed through New York, didn't do a thing about Christmas. Had in Carnegie, had my hair done, and got right on the train. And of course, the Normandy coming back was simply hectic. Fun, you know, but simply exhausting. Jock Whitney and Cary Grant and Dorothy DeFrost, well, it was too exhausting. And of course, London before that was so magnificent. I never got to bed at all. Darling, I have so much to tell you, I don't know where to start.
Well, start with the dirt first, dear. That's what I want to hear.
Well, let me see. Sybil Cartwright was thrown right out of Ciro's. It was the night before I left. She was wearing one of those new cellophane dresses, and you could absolutely see Trafalgar Square. And Sir Harry Montross, the painter, you know, is suing his mother for disorderly conduct. Well, it just shocked everyone. And oh, before I forget, Anthony Eden told me he's going to be on your New Year's broadcast, Sherry. And Beatrice Lilly gave me a message for you. She says for you to take off 25 pounds right away and send them to her parcel post. She needs them.
I'll pack them in ice. Well, now, what about you, my love? What about your love life? Don't expect me to believe for a minute that you never got to bed at all, if you know what I mean.
Sherry, you're dreadful.
What about that splendid bit of English mutton, Lord Bottomley? Haven't you hooked him yet?
Well, Sherry, please. Cedric is a very dear friend of mine.
Now, Blossom, this is Sherry you're talking to. Don't try to pull the bedclothes over my eyes. Don't tell me you wouldn't love to be Lady Bottomley with 100,000 pounds a year and 12 castles. By the way, has he had his teeth fixed yet? Every time I order Roquefort cheese, I think of those teeth.
Sherry, really? Cedric may not be brilliant, but he is rather sweet, poor lamb. And he's very fond of me. And he does represent a kind of English way of living that I like. Surrey in London for the season, shooting box in Scotland, that lovely old castle in Wales. Well, you were there, Sherry, you know what I mean.
I do indeed.
Well, really, Sherry, why not? If I can marry Cedric, I don't know why I shouldn't. Shall I tell you something, Sherry? I think from something you said just before I sailed that he's finally coming round to it. It wasn't definite, mind you. But don't be surprised if I am Lady Bottomley before very long.
Lady Bottomley! Won't Kansas City be surprised? However, I shall be a flower girl and will present the groom with an iron toothpick as a wedding gift. Now, come on, my dear. Tell me some more of your skullduggery.
Well,
Mr. Whiteside? No, later. Go away.
Who is that?
He's fixing the plumbing. Now, come on. Give me some news.
Oh, but Sherry, what about this play? After all, I've come all the way from New York, even on Christmas Eve. Well, I've been so excited ever since your phone call. Where is it? When can I read it?
Here's the situation. The young playwright who gave it to me, his name is Bert Jefferson, gave me the play with the strict understanding that I send it to Kit Cornell. It's a magnificent part, and God knows I do feel disloyal to Kit.
Sherry.
Well, anyway, I've done this much. The rest is up to you. He's young, quite attractive. Now, just how you'll go about persuading him, I'm sure you know better than I do.
Darling, how can I ever thank you? Does he know I'm coming, Mr. Jefferson, I mean?
No. You're just out here visiting me. You'll meet him, and that's that. Take it from there. Get him to invite you to dinner. And then, work around to the play. God, I don't have to tell you how to do these things. How'd you get all those other parts?
Sherry! Well, I'll go back to the hotel and get into something more attractive. I just dumped my bags and rushed right over here. Darling, you're wonderful.
All right, now, go get into your working clothes. Then come back here, spend Christmas Eve with Sherry, and I'll have Mr. Jefferson on tap. Oh, by the way, I've got a surprise for you. Guess who's paying me a flying visit tonight? None other than your old friend and co-star, Beverly Carlton.
Really? Beverly? I thought he was off being glamorous again on the tramp steamer.
Come. Mustn't be bitter just because Beverly got better notices than you did.
Don't be silly, Sherry. I never read notices. I simply wouldn't care to act with him again, that's all. Oh, he's not staying here, is he? I hope not.
Temper. No, he's not, dear. By the way, where did you get that new diamond pin? That's a new bit of loot, isn't it?
Haven't you seen this before? Cedric gave it to me for his mother's birthday. Oh, she was simply furious. Look, darling, I've got a taxi waiting outside if I'm going to get back here.
I've just been given the most beautiful...
Hello, Maggie. I knew you must be around here somewhere. How are you, my dear?
Santa's paid us an early visit, Magpie. Blossom Girl just dropped in out of the blue and surprised us.
Hello, Lorraine.
Is that Jefferson? Come on in, Bert. Lorraine, this is Mr. Bert Jefferson, young newspaper man here in town, editor of the Massalia Journal. Bert, this is Miss Lorraine Sheldon.
How do you do, Miss Sheldon?
Oh, how do you do? I didn't quite catch the name. Jefferson?
That's right, Pat.
Oh, why, Mr. Jefferson, you don't look like a newspaper man. You don't look like a newspaper man at all.
Really? I thought it was written all over me in neon lights.
Oh, no, not at all. Oh, I should have said you were, I don't know, an aviator or an explorer or something. They have that same kind of dash about them. I'm simply enchanted with your town, Mr. Jefferson. It gives one such a warm, gracious feeling. Tell me, have you lived here all your life?
Practically.
If you wish to learn the life story of this young man, Lorraine, I'd appreciate it if you would study it on your own time. Maggie and I have work to do. Get out of here, Jefferson. On your way, Blossom. On your way.
He's the world's rudest man, isn't he? Can I drop you, Mr. Jefferson? I'm going down to the Mansion House, I think it's called.
Actually, I have my car. Suppose I drop you.
Oh, would you? Why, that'd be lovely. We'll send a taxi off. See you in a little while, Sherry. Bye, Maggie.
Goodbye, Maggie. I am invited back for dinner, am I not?
Yes, you are. At Christmas, I always feed the needy. Now, Jefferson, stop oozing out. Get out.
Come on, Mr. Jefferson. I want to hear more about this charming little town. And I want to know a good deal about you, too.
See, is there a copy of that broadcast here, Maggie? How much did you say they wanted out? 4 minutes?
That's right. 4 minutes. She's looking very well, isn't she?
What's that? Who?
The Comtesse de Puchot. Quite a surprise, wasn't it, her just dropping in like that?
Yes, it was. Now, come on, Maggie, come on. Get to work. Get to work.
Well, she must have gone from New York like a dose of salts. How long is she going to stay?
What? Oh, I don't know. A few days. At this joyous season of the year, when in the hearts of men a swelling is felt of devout feeling.
Now, isn't it curious? There was Lorraine, snug as a bug in somebody's bed on Normandy.
Ere the Yuletide season pass, it is...
Now, Sherry dear, we will talk a bit.
Now, see here, Maggie. Just because a good friend of mine happens to drop in here at Christmas time to visit me is... I have a hunch that's Beverly, Maggie. Run, see if it is. Greet him at the door. Hurry, quickly, run, run!
Magpie!
Beverly!
A large, moist, incestuous kiss for my magpie.
Come in here, you Piccadilly pen pusher, and gaze upon a soul in agony.
Don't tell me how you are, Sherry, darling. I want none of the tiresome details. I only have a short time, so the conversation will be entirely about me, and I shall love it. Now, shall I tell you how I glitter through the South Seas like a silver scimitar, or would you rather hear how I frolic through Zambesia, ravishing a major general's daughter and writing a 3-act play at the same time? Magpie, dear, you are the moonflower of my middle age, and I love you very much. Say something tender to me.
Oh, Beverly, darling.
That's my girl. Now then, Sherry, without going into mountainous waves of self-pity, how are you?
I'm fine, you presumptuous cockney. Now, how was the trip? Wonderful?
Fabulous. I got a fantastic amount of work done. By the way, did I happen to glimpse that little boudoir butterfly, La Sheldon, in a motor car as I came up the driveway?
Oh, you did indeed. She's paying us a Christmas visit.
Dear girl, they do say she set fire to her mother, but I don't believe it. Now then, Sherry, my evil one. Not only have I written the finest comedy since Molière, but also my best review since my last one, and an operetta that frightens you. It is so good. I shall play it for 8 weeks in London, 6 in New York, no matinees, and then I'm off to the Grecian Islands. Magpie, why don't you come along? Why don't you desert this cannonball of fluff and come along with me?
Careful, Beverly, darling. You're catching me at a good moment.
Beverly, tell me, did you have a good time in Hollywood? How long were you there?
3 unbelievable days. I saw everyone from Adrian to Zanuck. They came, poor dears, as to a shrine. I was insufferably charming to them and ruthlessly firm in refusing $7 million for 2 minutes' work.
What about Banjo? Did you see my wonderful pal Banjo in Hollywood?
I did. He gave a dinner party for me. I arrived in white tie and tails to be met at the door by 2 bewigged butlers who quietly proceeded to take my trousers off. I was then ushered in my lemon silk drawers into a room full of Norma Shearer, Claudette Colbert, and Aldous Huxley, among others. Dear, sweet, incomparable Banjo.
You know, I'll never forget that summer at Antibes when Banjo hid a microphone in Lorraine's mattress and then played the record for us the next day at lunch.
I remember it indeed. Lorraine left Antibes by the next boat.
I wish Banjo were here now.
What's the matter, Magpie? Lorraine being her own sweet, sick-making self?
You wouldn't take her to the Grecian Islands with you, would you, Beverly? For me?
Now, Lorraine is a charming and gracious person who is giving up our own Christmas and to spend it here with me.
Oh, I knew I had been dead for all this. Listen to this.
Wayside? Please, later. Anytime later. Go away.
Kidnapped someone, Sheriff?
Yes, that was Charlie Ross. Now, come on, is this something juicy?
It's juicy as a pomegranate. It is the latest report from London on the winter maneuvers of a Miss Lorraine Sheldon against the left flank, well, actually, all flanks of Lord Cedric Bottomley. Listen. Lorraine has just left us in a cloud of Chanel No. 5. Since September, in her relentless pursuit of his lordship, she has paused only to change girdles and check her oil. She has chased him, panting, from castle to castle, till he finally took refuge for several weekends in the gentleman's lavatory of the House of Lords. Practically no one is betting on the Derby this year. We're all making book on Lorraine. She is sailing tomorrow on the Normandy, but will return on the Atlantic Clipper if Bottomley so much as belches in her direction. Have you ever met Lord Bottomley, Magpie?
No, I haven't.
Not very good shooting today, but only 6 partridges, 4 grams, and the Duke of Sutherland.
My God, that's Bottomley to his very bottom.
Rigging debate in the House today. Oh, Basil spent for 3 hours. Dropped dead at the end of it. Ripping!
You're making it up, Beverly. No one sounds like that.
It's so good it's uncanny. Damn it, Beverly, why must you rush right out of here? I never see enough of you, you ungrateful moppet.
Sherry, darling, I can only tell you that my love for you is so intense that I changed trains at Chicago just to be able to spend 10 minutes with you and wish you a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, my lad. My beloved Magpie.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Beverly.
And now, I have just time for one magnificent number to show you how brilliant the whole thing is. It's the second number of my new review.
Oh, damn. Get rid of them, Maggie.
Hello? Oh, hello, Bert. Oh, just a minute. Beverly, would you have time to talk to a newspaper man for 2 minutes? I kind of promised him.
I won't have time, Magpie. Listen to the piano.
Oh. Oh, Bert, wait a minute. Beverly, could you talk to him at the station before your train leaves? Bert, go down to the station and wait for him there. He'll be there in a few minutes. All right. Bye.
The stalls are impatient, Beverly. Let's have this second-rate masterpiece.
Oh. It's called What Am I to Do? Oft in the nightfall, I think I might fall down from this towering height. Deep in the heart of me, always a part of me, shivering, quivering alone. Run, little lady, ere the shady shaft please. Let me say that. Now, would you get the portion of it?
Come in, Westcott.
Oh, the airways, eh? Well, I shan't have to listen to you. Thank God I shall be on a train.
Mr. Westcott, you can go in there. John, will you show him where to plug those in?
Right this way, gentlemen.
Sarah, would you take the children into the kitchen and give them some kind of refreshment?
Sure. One cookie per kid. One cookie. One.
Interviewing the Von Trapp family, Sherry?
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Come along, Whiteside. Say goodbye.
Stop this nonsense.
Au revoir, Sherry. Merry Christmas.
Beverly, my lamb. Maggie, what the hell are you? I want to talk to Beverly.
You can kiss Beverly in London on July 12th.
I will not be rushed out of here like a baby that needs to have his diapers changed.
Magpie, come get a kiss.
Beverly, I want 1 minute. I must have it. You'll make your train. The station's a minute and a half from here.
Why, Magpie, what's the matter?
Go away.
I'm just waiting in the kitchen until Mr. Excuse me. Who is that?
Oh, never mind. Oh, Beverly, I'm in great trouble.
Oh, Magpie, what is it?
I've fallen in love.
No!
Yes. For the first time in my life, Beverly, I'm in love. I can't tell you about it now. There isn't time. But Sherry's trying to break it up. In his own fiendish way, he's doing everything he can to break it up.
Why, the old flounder? What's he doing?
Lorraine. He's brought Lorraine here to smash it up.
Oh, it's someone here in this town.
Yes, he's the newspaper man you're going to meet at the station. And he's written a play, and I know Sherry's using that as bait. Oh, you know Lorraine. She'll eat him up alive. Oh, you've got to help me, Beverly.
Of course I will, Magpie. What do you want me to do?
Well, the first thing I want you to do is try...
Oh, all right. Let me see if I can help you. I only have a short
Have you a copy of the broadcast, Miss Cutler?
Yes, right over there on that table, Mr. Westcott.
Thank you very much. One of the penguins ate the original.
Here's what I want you to do.
I love it! I absolutely love it! It's simply enchanting. And bitches, Sherry and Lorraine at the same time. Oh, it's pure heaven. I adore it, and I shall do it up brown.
Oh, the first baby will be named Beverly. You're wonderful.
Of course I am. Come to Chisel your honeymoon, and I'll put you up. Goodbye, my lovely. I adore you. Now, Mercy, I must get out of here.
Shall I straighten out the room for the broadcast, Miss Cutler?
Oh, no, John, it isn't necessary. It's not television, thank God. We only hear the liquid voice.
He's really wonderful, isn't he, Mr. Whiteside? The things he finds time to do.
Yes, he certainly sticks his nose into everything, doesn't he, John?
Are the munchkins in the kitchen, Miss Cutler?
Yes, they are, Mr. Westcott.
Thank you.
Why, Miss June, are you going away?
Why, no, John. No, Mr. Whiteside isn't there, I suppose?
Yes, he is. He's getting ready to go on the radio.
Oh, would you... No, never mind. Look, John.
Where is he? Is he in the library?
Yes, he's busy.
Oh. Well, maybe we should wait until it... Come on.
Thank you, John. Hello, dear. Where's Sherry?
He's inside working. He's broadcasting very soon.
Oh, of course. Christmas Eve. What a wonderful man Sheridan Whiteside is. You know, it must be such an utter joy to be secretary to somebody like Sherry.
Well, yes, you certainly meet interesting people. That's quite a dress, Lorraine. Going anywhere?
This? Oh, I just threw on anything at all. Aren't you dressing for dinner?
Just what meets the eye.
Who does your hair, Maggie?
A little French woman named Maggie Cutler comes in every morning.
You know, every time I see you, I keep thinking your hair could be so lovely. I've always wanted to get my hands on it.
I've always wanted to get my hands on yours, Lorraine.
What, dear? Oh, by the way, what time does Beverly get here? I'm not over anxious to meet him.
Well, he's been and gone, Lorraine.
Really? Well, I'm very glad. Of course, you're great friends, aren't you and Beverly?
Oh, yes, we are. I think he's a wonderful person.
I suppose he is. But really, when I finished acting with him, I was a perfect wreck. All during that tender love scene the critics thought was so magnificent. He kept dropping peanut shells down my dress. I wouldn't act with him again if I were starving.
So tell me, Lorraine, have you found a new play yet?
No, I haven't. Well, there was a pile of manuscripts waiting in New York for me, but I just hurried right out here to Sherry.
Oh, you know, that was wonderful of you, Lorraine. I mean, just to drop everything and rush to Sherry's wheelchair like that.
Well, after all, Maggie dear, what else has one in this world but friends?
That's what I always say.
Everything okay?
Yes, thank you.
How long will Sherry be in there?
No, not long. Did you know that Mr. Jefferson has written quite a good play? The young man that drove you to the hotel.
Really? Oh, no, I didn't. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, isn't it?
They put a polish on my nails I simply loathe. I don't suppose Elizabeth Arden has a branch in this town.
Not if she has any sense.
Oh, well, I'll just bear it, but it does depress me. Oh, have you read this, Maggie? Everybody was reading it on the boat. I hear you simply can't put it down.
Oh, I put it down. Right over there. Hello? Who? Oh, Miss Lorraine Sheldon? Yes, she's here. It's a transatlantic call coming through for you, Lorraine.
Transatlantic for me here? Oh, what in the world?
It's London.
London? Hello? Hello? Cedric! Oh, Cedric, is this you? Oh, why, Cedric, you darling. Why, what a surprise. How did you know I was here? Of what? Darling, don't talk so fast and you won't stutter so. Oh, that's better. Yes, now I can hear you. Oh, yes, very clearly. It's as though you were just around the corner. Oh, I see. What? Oh, darling! Cedric, dearest, would you wait just one moment? Maggie, it's Lord Bottomley. A very personal call. Would you mind?
Oh, no, not at all.
Yes, my dearest, now tell me. Oh, Cedric, please don't stutter so. Don't be nervous. Oh, my darling. Oh, my sweet. Oh, you don't know how I pray for this every night on the boat. Oh, darling, yes, 1,000 times yes. Oh, I'll take a plane right out of here and catch the next boat. What? Cedric, don't stutter so. Oh, yes, and I love you, my darling, oh, so much. Oh, my dear, sweet, my darlingest darling. Oh, yes, I will, darling, I will. I'll be thinking of you every moment. Oh, you've made me the happiest girl in the world. Goodbye, darling, goodbye. Sherry, you know what happened? Cedric just called from London. He's asked me to marry him.
What?
Oh, Sherry, think of it, at last. Oh, I've got to get right out of here and catch the next boat.
May I come in?
Oh, Maggie, my dear. Can I get a plane out of here right away? I've simply got to catch the next boat to England. When is it? Do you know? Is there a newspaper here?
Well, the Queen Mary sails Friday. What's happened?
Maggie, the most wonderful thing in the world has happened. Lord Bottomley has asked me to marry him. Oh,
Really? Well, what do you know?
isn't it wonderful? Oh, I'm so excited I can hardly think. Oh, Maggie, you must help me get right out of here.
I'd be happy to, Lorraine.
Oh, well, thank you. Will you look things up right away?
Well, I have a train scheduled right over here. But don't worry, Lorraine, because if there isn't any train, I'll drive you to Cleveland and you can get the plane from there.
Maggie, darling, you're wonderful. Oh, Sherry, what's the matter with you? You haven't said a word. You haven't even congratulated me.
Let me understand this, Lorraine. Am I to gather from your girlish squeals that you are about to toss your entire career into the ash can?
Oh, no, not at all. Of course, I may not be able to play this season, but there'll be other seasons, Sherry.
I see. And everything else goes into the ash can with it. Is that right?
Oh, Sherry, you couldn't expect me to kill
Don't explain, Lorraine. I understand only too well. I also understand why Kit Cornell remains the first actress of our theater.
Oh, this is wonderful. We're in luck, Lorraine. There's a plane out of Cleveland at 10:03. Now, let me see. It takes about an hour to get there. Oh, this is out just working out wonderfully. Isn't it, Sherry, dear?
Peachy.
Maggie, what's the number of the hotel I'm staying at? I've got to get my maid started packing.
Messalia 32.
Messalia 32, please. Let's see, I sail Friday, 5-day boat. That means I ought to be in London Wednesday night. Hello, Mansion House? This is Miss Sheldon. That's right. Put me through to my maid, will you?
Oh, this is wonderful. Oh, look, Sherry, it's starting to snow. I've never felt more like Christmas in my life. Don't you, Sherry, dear?
Shut your nasty little face.
Cosette, now listen carefully. We're leaving here tonight by plane and sailing Friday on the Queen Mary. I want you to start packing immediately, and I'll call for you in about an hour. That's right. Now, I want you to send these cables for me. Have you got a pencil? Right. The first one goes to Lord and Lady Kennard. Oh, you'll find all these addresses in my little book. It's in my dressing case. Lord and Lady Kennard, my darlings, returning Friday, Queen Mary, Cedric and I being married immediately on arrival, wanted you to be the first to know, love, Lorraine. Now send... What? Thank you, Cosette. Thank you very much. Now send the same message to Lady Astor, Lord Beaverbrook, and my mother in Kansas City. Have you got that? And send a telegram to Hattie Carnegie, New York. Please meet me, Sherry Netherlands, noon tomorrow, with sketches of bridal gown and trousseau, Lorraine Sheldon. And send one to Monsieur Pierre Cartier, Cartier's London. Will you hold in reserve for me the triple string of pearls I picked out in October? Cable me Queen Mary, Lorraine Sheldon. Have you got all that straight, Cosette? Oh, fine. Now you have to rush, my dear. I'll be at the hotel in about an hour, so be ready. Goodbye. Thank goodness for Cosette. I'd die without her. She's the most wonderful maid in the world. Well, life is really just full of surprises, isn't it? Who would have thought an hour ago I'd be on my way to London?
An hour ago? No, I certainly wouldn't have thought it an hour ago.
Will you both stop this female drooling? I have a violent headache.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sherry dear. Can I get you something?
Look here, Sherry. I'm sorry if I've offended you, but after all, my life is my own.
Everyone. Say, do you know it's snowing out? It looks like we're going to have a real old-fashioned Christmas.
Why don't you telephone your scoop to the New York Times?
Bert, Miss Sheldon has to catch a plane from Cleveland tonight. Could we drive her over, you and I?
Well, we certainly can. I'm sorry you have to go, Miss Sheldon. Not bad news, I hope.
Oh, no, on the contrary, very good news. Wonderful news.
Oh, yes, indeed. Calls for a drink, I think. You're not being a very good host, Sherry. How about a bottle of champagne?
Oh, I can do better than that. Let me fix you a Jefferson special, all right, Mr. Whiteside?
Yes. Mix anything, only stop this dribbling.
Oh, Maggie, has anyone admired my Christmas present yet?
Oh, I forgot. Oh, look, everybody. From Mr. Jefferson to me.
Oh, it's charming. Oh, let me see it. Oh, why, it's inscribed, too. To Maggie, long may she wave, Bert. Oh, Maggie, it's a lovely Christmas present. Isn't that sweet, Sherry?
Ducky.
I told you it was beautiful, Bert. See?
Well, it goes to show what you can get if you save your coupons.
What's going on between you two, anyhow? Maggie, are you hiding something from us?
Great God, will this drivel never stop? My head is bursting.
A Jefferson special can cure anything. Oh, by the way, Mr. Whiteside, I did manage to get a 2-minute interview with Beverly Carlton down at the station, and you're right, he really is something.
Go ahead, Bert. Make those drinks.
Yeah, on the fire. You know, I was lucky to get even 2 minutes. He was in a telephone booth most of the time.
Bert, about those drinks.
Yeah, all right. You know, I couldn't hear exactly what he was saying, but from the faces he was making, it looked like he was doing a scene from one of his plays.
Bert, please make those...
Jefferson, just a moment, if you please. You say Beverly Carlton was in a telephone booth at the station?
Yeah, he certainly was. He kept talking and making the damnedest faces for about 5 minutes. I thought he'd never come out.
Bert, my boy, I have an idea. I will love the Jefferson special. Make me a double one, will you? My headache is just gone with the wind.
Okay.
Philo Vance is now at work. Operator, Massalia 142 here. Will you tell me, please, if there has been a call from England to this telephone within the past half hour?
Sherry?
Yes, I'll wait.
Sherry, what is all this?
What's that, operator? You say there have been no calls from England for the past 3 days. Now, operator, I thank you very much. Will you wait just a few seconds and then repeat that? Hear it, Blossom Girl? Thank you, operator. Thank you very much. And Merry Christmas.
Sherry, what is all this? What does it mean?
My dear, you have just played out the greatest love scene of your entire career with your old friend Beverly Carlton.
Why, that's not true. I was talking to Cedric. What do you mean?
I mean, my dear, that was Beverly you poured out your girlish heart to, not Lord Bottomley. Ah, me. Who would have thought 5 minutes ago that you would not be going to London?
Sherry, I want this explained.
Explain? You heard the operator, my dear. All I can tell you is that Beverly was indulging in one of his famous bits of mimicry, that's all. You've heard him do Lord Bottomley before, haven't you?
Yes, of course. But why would he want to do such a thing? Oh, this is the most dreadful... Oh, God, those cables! Get me the hotel, whatever it's called. I want the hotel. I'll pay him off if it's the last thing that I... Why, the skunk, the louse, the dirty, rotten... The mansion house? Connect me with the maid. What? Who the hell do you think it is? Miss Sheldon, of course. God, those cables. If only Cosette has a... Cosette, did you send those cables? Oh, God. Oh, now listen, Cosette. I want you to send another cable to every one of those people and tell them somebody has been using my name and to disregard anything and everything they hear from me, except this, of course. Don't ask questions, do as you're told. Don't argue with me, you French bitch. God damn it, do as you're told. And unpack, we're not going.
Now steady, my Blossom. Take it easy.
What do you mean, take it easy? Do you realize I'll be the laughingstock of England? I won't dare show my face. I always knew Beverly Carlton was low, but not this low. Why? It isn't even funny. Why would he do it? That's what I want to know. Why would he do it? I can't understand it. Do you, Sherry? Do you, Maggie, when you both saw him this afternoon? Why would he walk out if you go right into a phone booth and try to ship me over to England on a fool's errand? There must have been some reason. There must have. Oh, it doesn't make sense otherwise. Why would Beverly Carlton, or anyone else for that matter, want her? I think I'm beginning to... Of course. That's it. Of course that's it. Yes, and that's a very charming bracelet that Mr. Jefferson gave you, isn't it, Maggie? Of course that's it. Oh, it makes complete sense now. And to think that I nearly... Oh, well, wild horses couldn't get me out of here now, Maggie. If I were you, I'd hang on to that bracelet, dear. It'll be something to remember him by.
All right, Mr. Whiteside, almost time. Hook her up and start testing. Here's your copy, Mr. Whiteside.
How much time?
Oh, a couple more minutes. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. How are we coming in, New York? ABCD, ABCD. Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb.
ABCD, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Please, Daisy.
Here comes the Jefferson special. Testing. Say, do we have time?
Oh, I'm sure we have, Mr. Jefferson. I'm not leaving after all. My plans have changed.
Oh, well, that's good.
And I'm here for the simply marvelous play, Mr. Jefferson. I want you to read it to me. Tonight. Will you? We'll go back to the mansion house right after dinner, and you'll read me your play.
I certainly will. I would be delighted. Maggie, did you hear that? Oh, say, I'll bet you did this. I'll bet you arranged the whole thing. Maggie, that's the most wonderful Christmas present you could have given me. Maggie? Maggie!
30 seconds of waiting.
Mr. Whiteside!
Quiet!
What is the meaning of this? My son has run off on a freighter, and my daughter is marrying an anarchist?
Quiet!
And they say you told them to do it!
My poor June, my poor Richard. Oh, this is the most awful thing.
Quiet, we're going on the air soon.
Oh, excuse me, I see you're still busy.
Don't tell me to be quiet!
For God's sake, be quiet, step out of the way. Come on, children. Move in, let's go. We're going on the air soon. We're going on the air. We're going on the air. Good evening, everybody. Cream of Mush brings you Sharon Whiteside.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Round your virgin mother and child, hold the infant so tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace.
This is Whiteside speaking. On this eve of eves, when my own heart is overflowing with peace and kindness, I think it most fitting to tell once again the story of that still and lustrous night nigh on to two.
A penguin bit me!
When first the star of Bethlehem was glimpsed in a wonder.
Yes, sir?
Where do you disappear to all the time, my lady Nausea?
Mr. Whiteside, I can only be in one place at a time.
That is very fortunate for this community.
Good morning, Mr. Whiteside. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, John. Merry Christmas.
Are you ready for your breakfast, Mr. Whiteside?
No, I don't think I want any breakfast this morning, John. Has Miss Cutler come down yet?
No, sir, not yet.
Is she in her room, do you know?
Yes, sir, she is. Shall I call her?
No, that's all, John. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm taking the 1 o'clock train, Sherry. I'm leaving.
Doing nothing of the kind.
Here are your keys, your driving license, the keys to the safe deposit vault are in the apartment in New York. I'm going in there now to clean up.
Just a moment, Mrs. Siddons. Where were you until 3 o'clock this morning? I sat up half the night in this station wagon worrying about you. Why didn't you answer me when I called to you as you came in? You heard me.
Look, Sherry, it's over and you've won. I really don't want to talk about it.
Oh, come. What do you want to do? Make me feel like a naughty, naughty boy? Really, Maggie, sometimes you can be very annoying.
You know, you're quite wonderful, Sherry, in a way. You're annoyed. I wish there was a laugh left in me. Shall I tell you something, Sherry? I think you are a selfish, petty egomaniac who would see his mother burned at the stake if that was the only way he could light a cigarette. I think you would sacrifice your best friend without a moment's hesitation if he interrupted the sacred routine of your self-centered, petty little life. I think you are incapable of any human emotion higher up than your stomach, and I was the fool of the world for ever thinking I could trust you.
Well, I will never again do a good turn for another human being. I won't ask you to apologize, Maggie, because 6 months from now, you will be thanking me instead of berating me.
6 months from now, I expect to be so far away from you that I won't...
Merry Christmas, everybody! Merry Christmas! I'm a little high, I know, but I can explain everything. Hello, Maggie. Hello, Mr. Whiteside. Shake hands with a successful playwright. Maggie. Where did you run away to last night? Where did you go? Miss Sheldon said my play was wonderful. I read her my play and she said it was wonderful. Isn't that wonderful, Maggie?
Yes, Bert, that's just fine.
Isn't that wonderful, Mr. Whiteside?
Look, Jefferson, I think you ought to go home, don't you?
What? No. This is the biggest day of my life. I'm a little drunk, I know, but this is a very big day. Miss Sheldon and I were drinking all night over at Billy's Tavern. I didn't realize it was daylight until it was daylight. Oh, Maggie. Miss Sheldon says that my play is going to need just a little bit of work. Maybe 3 weeks should do it. Well, she has this little place in Lake Placid, and she's going to take me there. And we're going to go to Lake Placid and work on my play together. Isn't that wonderful, Maggie? Maggie, why don't you say something?
Look, Bert, you can tell us all about this later. Now, why don't you go on to your place?
Excuse me. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
And God bless us, everyone, Tiny Tim.
Yes. Mr. Whiteside, I thought perhaps...
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Lake Placid. Do you know the famous actress Lorraine Sheldon? Well, Miss Placid is going to take me to Lake Sheldon for 3 weeks.
Dr. Bradley, would you do me a favor? I think Mr. Jefferson would enjoy some strong black coffee and a little breakfast. Would you take care of it?
Yes, of course.
Come on with me. I'm going to buy you the biggest breakfast you've ever had. Come on. No, Doc. You know what we'll do? We'll climb down some chimneys. Yeah. I've got this friend who doesn't believe in Santa Claus. We'll climb down his chimney. We'll scare the hell out of him. Yeah. Come on.
Now listen, Maggie. I am willing to forgive your tawdry outburst and discuss this matter with you calmly.
Oh, I love him so terribly. Why did you do it, Sherry? Why did you do it?
Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Miss Stanley. Merry Christmas.
I'm afraid I shouldn't be seen talking to you, Mr. Whiteside. My brother is terribly angry. I just couldn't resist asking. Did you like my Christmas present?
Why, I'm very sorry, Miss Stanley. I haven't opened it. I haven't opened any of my presents yet.
Oh, dear. I was so anxious. Why, it's right here. Won't you open it now?
This is very thoughtful of you, Miss Stanley. I appreciate your thinking of me. Why, it's lovely. I'm very fond of these old photographs. Thank you very much.
I was 22 when that was taken. That was my favorite dress. Do you really like it?
I do indeed. And when I get back to the city, I shall send you a little gift.
Oh, will you? Oh, thank you, Mr. Sheridan. I shall treasure it. Well, I shall be late for church. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Miss Stanley. And thank you.
Goodbye.
What is there about that woman?
Sarah's got a surprise for you, Mr. Whiteside. She's just taking you out of the oven.
Thank you, John. Miss Breen! Miss Breen!
Yes, sir? Yes, sir?
Answer the door, will you? John has gone upstairs.
Who is it?
Only I know.
I love you. Hello, Medley. Don't be afraid. Kiss me.
Don't you dare kiss me!
Will you sign this package for me, Mr. Whiteside?
Angel, put that woman down. Get off my back. Get off my back. Come to my room in a half an hour and bring some rye bread.
Whiteside, I'm here to spend Christmas with you. Give me a kiss.
Get away from me, you reform school fugitive. How long can you stay? How did you get here?
Darryl Santa cloned me as reindeer. Whiteside, I just finished shooting my picture in Hollywood. Flew in here in 12 hours, borrowed a plane from Howard Hughes. I'm on my way to Nova Scotia. Whiteside, I brought you the most marvelous Christmas present. This brassiere was once worn by Hedy Lamarr.
Listen, you nitwit. How long can you stay?
Just long enough to take a bath. I'm on my way to Nova Scotia.
What are you going to Nova Scotia for?
Whiteside, I am so sick of Hollywood. And there's a dame in New York I don't particularly want to see either. So I figured I'd go to Nova Scotia and pick up some smoked salmon. Where the hell's Maggie? What the hell's the matter with you? Where is she? Warm up?
Banjo, I'm glad you're here. I'm very upset with Maggie. Very.
What's the matter? Hey, what's this? I thought you couldn't walk.
Oh, I've been all right for weeks. That's beside the point. I'm furious with Maggie. She's turned on me like a viper. You know how fond I am of her. Well, now she's repaying all my years of affection by behaving like a fishwife.
What are you talking about?
But I never for one moment believed she was actually in love with him.
In love with who? I just got here, remember?
Thank God I'm telling you, you Hollywood nitwit. A young newspaper man here in town.
Maggie finally fell? Well, what do you know? Well, what kind of a guy is he? What's he like?
Now, shut up and listen. I'm telling you.
Well, come on. What happened?
Well, Lorraine Sheldon happened to drop in here to visit me for Christmas.
Lorraine? Old Hot Pants is here?
Now, listen. This man had written a play. You can figure out the rest. Now he's going away for 3 weeks with Lorraine to rewrite. So there you are, and poor Maggie's in there crying her eyes out.
Gee. Wait a minute. What do you mean Lorraine Sheldon just happened to show up here? I smell a rat, Cherry. A freckled, bald-headed rat.
Well, all right. But I did it for Maggie, because I thought it was the right thing for her.
Oh, sure, you haven't thought of yourself in years. Gee, that poor kid. Well, where is she? Can I go in and talk to her?
No. Leave her alone.
Anything I can do to help? Say, what about this guy, the one she likes? Can we get a hold of him?
No, wait a minute. We don't want any phony warrants or you pretending to be J. Edgar Hoover. I've been through all that with you before. I got Lorraine here, and I'm the one who's going to have to get her out of here.
Well, it's got to be good, Cherry. Lorraine's no dope. Say, I got it. What about that guy over in England that Lorraine likes? That Lord Fanny or Tushy or Bodley?
No, Banjo, no.
Well, we got a tough proposition on your hands. I told you. Lorraine's no dope.
Trouble is, there's so damn little time. Get out of my chair! Lorraine's taking him away with her this afternoon. There must be some way. Damn. If I only had more time. Hell and damnation. Let go of that.
Stuck, huh?
In the words of one of our greatest living lyric poets, you said it.
Well, don't worry, Sherry. I'll get you out of this one. I'll get rid of Lorraine if I have to do it one piece at a time. Say, something smells wonderful. I just realized I'm hungry.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside! Excuse me. I have something for you.
Sarah.
But Mr. Whiteside, it was for you!
Never mind, Sarah. He's quite mad.
Come, Petrushka! We shall dance! We shall dance in the snow!
Just give him some breakfast, Sarah. He's perfectly harmless. What does this mean?
It means, Mr. Whiteside, that I am leaving. My address is on the desk inside. You can send me a check.
You realize, Miss Preen, this is completely unprofessional.
I do indeed. I am not only walking out on this case, Mr. Whiteside, I am leaving the nursing profession. I became a nurse because ever since I was a little girl, I was filled with the desire to serve a suffering humanity. After 1 month with you, Mr. Whiteside, I'm going to work in a munitions factory. From now on, anything I can do to help exterminate the human race will fill me with the greatest of pleasure. If Florence Nightingale had ever nursed you, Mr. Whiteside, she would have married Jack the Ripper instead of founding the Red Cross. Good day. Mr. Stanley's here with June. He's brought June back. Thank goodness, thank goodness. June, thank God you're back. You're not married, are you?
No, Mother, I'm not. And please don't be hysterical.
Oh, June, if it had been anyone but that awful boy. Thank goodness you stopped it, Ernest. How did you do it?
Don't worry about that now, Daisy. Just take June upstairs. I have something to say to Mr. Whiteside.
But what about Richard? Is there any news?
It's all okay. Everything's all right. Just take June upstairs.
Father, haven't we had enough melodrama? I do not need to be taken upstairs. I'll go upstairs. Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside. Looks bad for John L. Lewis. Come on, Mother. Lock me in my room.
Now, June, you'll feel much better after you've had a hot bath, I know. Have you had anything to eat?
I am pleased to inform you, sir, that your plans for my daughter seem to have gone a trifle awry. She is not, nor will she ever be married to that labor agitator you so kindly picked out for her. As for my son, he's been apprehended in Toledo and will be delivered home here within the hour. And not having your gift for invective, sir, I cannot tell you what I think of your obnoxious interference in my affairs. But I have arranged so that you will interfere no more. Gentlemen, come in, please. Mr. Whiteside, these gentlemen are deputy sheriffs, and they have a warrant by which I will be able to put you out of this house. And I need hardly tell you, it will be the happiest moment of my life. You have 15 minutes to pack your bags and get out. If you're not out in 15 minutes, I will have these men forcibly eject you. Thank you, gentlemen. Would you wait outside, please? 15 minutes, Mr. Whiteside. That includes bag, baggage, wheelchair, octopus, penguins, and cockroaches. I am now going upstairs to my room to smash our radio, so that not even accidentally will I ever hear your damn voice again.
You sure you don't want my autograph, old fellow?
15 minutes, Mr. Whiteside. 15 minutes.
Say, she can sure cook. Well, Whiteside, I didn't get any good ideas. Any news from the front?
Yes, the enemy is at my rear and nibbling.
Where did you say Maggie was? Is she in there?
No use, Banjo. She's taking the 1 o'clock train out.
No kidding, you didn't tell me that. She's actually quitting you after all these years? She's really leaving?
She is.
Well, that means you've only got until 1 o'clock to do something.
No, dear. I have exactly 14 minutes in which to pull out of my hat the damnedest rabbit you have ever seen.
15 minutes? What are you talking about?
In 15 minutes, baby's rosy little body is being tossed into the snow. Mine host has sworn out a warrant. I'm being kicked out.
What? I never heard of such a thing. What would he go and do a thing like that for?
Never mind, never mind. The point is I have only 15 minutes. Banjo, dear, the master's growing a little desperate.
What about laying your cards on the table with Lorraine?
Now, Banjo, you know Dream Girl as well as I do. What do you think?
You're right.
Banjo, go in there and talk to Maggie for a few minutes. Right in there. I want to think.
Wait a second. I got it. If I knew where Lorraine was, I could get a car and run her over. It wouldn't hurt her much.
Banjo, please. I've got to think.
Pardon me, ma'am. Is this the way to the YMCA?
Is that your father?
No, you idiot. Hello, Mr. Whiteside. I didn't get very far. Any suggestions?
I'm very sorry, Richard. Really, very sorry. I wish I were in a position to be able...
Well, you're not in any position. Your officer is a little something for your trouble. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Richard, would you wait upstairs, please? Ken!
Whiteside.
How about your smart juice, Mr. Whiteside? Are you feeling any better?
Superb, John. Any cyanide in this orange? Get the door, will you, John? Probably some mustard gas from an old friend.
Say, that crazy fellow made a great deal with Sarah. He wants to give her a screen test.
Good morning. Is Mr. Whiteside up yet?
Yes, he is, Miss Shelley. Right here.
Merry Christmas, darling. Merry Christmas. I've come to have Christmas breakfast with you, my dear. May I?
Of course, my sprite. John, a breakfast tray for Miss Sheldon? Yes. Better make it 1-minute eggs.
Sherry, it's the most perfect Christmas morning. The snow is absolutely glistening. Too bad you can't get out.
Oh, I probably will see a bit of it. I understand you're taking off for Lake Lake Placid, my Blossom. What time do you go?
Sherry, how did you know? Oh, it's Bert here.
No, he rolled in a while ago. You worked rather fast, didn't you, dear?
Darling, I was just swept off my feet by the play. It's fantastically good. Sherry, it's the kind of part that comes along once in 10 years. I'm so grateful to you, darling. Really, Sherry, sometimes I think you're the only friend I have in the world.
Thank you, dear. What time did you say you were leaving, you and Jefferson?
I don't know. I think it's 4 o'clock. You know, quite apart from anything else, Sherry, Bert is really a very attractive man. It makes it rather a pleasure squaring accounts with little Miss Vitriol. In fact, it's all worked out beautifully. Sherry Lamb, I want to give you the most beautiful Christmas present you've ever had in your life. Oh, now, what do you want? Anything. Oh, I'm so deliriously happy that That sounds like Banjo. Is he here?
He is, my dear. It's just the old family circle gathering at Christmas. My, how time flies when you're having fun.
Well, hello, sweetie pants. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And you, Banjo?
I'm fine, I'm fine. How's the, mattress business, Lorraine?
Very funny. It's too bad, Banjo, that your pictures aren't as funny as you seem to think you are.
Well, you got me there, Mama. Say, Lorraine, you look in the pink. Anything in the wind, Whiteside?
Not a glimmer.
What time does the boat sail?
10 minutes.
What boat is this?
The good ship up the creek.
I've listed everything except the New Year's Eve broadcast. Wasn't there a schedule on that?
I think it's on the desk there somewhere, Maggie.
Thank you.
New Year's Eve. Oh, Bert and I will hear it in Lake Placid. You were at my cottage up there once, weren't you, Sherry? It's lovely, isn't it? Away from everything. Just snow and clear, cold night. Oh, that's probably Bert now. I told him to meet me here. You know, I'm really looking forward to Lake Placid. Bert's the kind of man who will do all winter sports beautifully.
Yes, but will he get time?
Right behind. Paradise bread. All right, careful now. Careful. Bring it right in here.
Sherry, what is this?
Careful. Easy. Now swing your end. Where do you want this put?
Right here.
You got it.
It's for you, Mr. Whiteside.
Dear God. If there was one thing I needed right now, it was an Egyptian mummy.
Merry Christmas from the Khedive of Egypt. What did you send him, Grant's tomb?
5 minutes, Whiteside, including mummy.
What was that all about? Who is that man?
I pay him a small sum to announce the time every few minutes.
But what on earth for, Sherry?
I lost my watch.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Whiteside. I see you're busy.
Good God.
Pardon me, Mr. Whiteside, but I've written a great new chapter on the left kidney, and I think that... I'll wait in there.
Is that the plumber again, Sherry? Oh, dear, I wonder where Bert is. Darling, you're not very Christmassy. You're usually bubbling over on Christmas morning. Who sent this to you, Sherry? The Khedive of Egypt. You know, I think it's rather beautiful.
Oh, I must go to Egypt someday. I really must. I know I'd love it. The first time I went to Pompeii, I cried all night. All those people, all those lives. Oh, where are they now? Sherry, don't you ever think about that? I do. Well, here was a woman like myself who once lived and loved, full of the same passions, fears, jealousies, hates. And what remains of any of it now? Just this and nothing more. A span of 4,000 years. A mere atom in the eternity of time. And here am I, another woman, living out her life. Oh, what a cross! Oh, I mustn't talk like this today. It's Christmas. Oh, it's Christmas.
Lorraine, darling, did you ever play St. Joan?
Well, no, I haven't, Sherry. What makes you ask?
There was an expression on your face as you stood in that mummy case. There was an absolute halo about you.
Oh, why, Sherry, how sweet.
It transcended any mortal expression I've ever seen, Lorraine. Please do it again, will you?
You're joshing, Sherry, aren't you?
My dear, I don't make light of these things. There was an ethereal beauty about you, Lorraine. I was deeply moved. It was pure Da Vinci. Please do it again.
Well, I don't know exactly what it was that I did, but... Oh, I feel too silly, Sherry.
Lorraine, in that one crystalline moment, you approached the epitome of your art, and you should not be ashamed of it. You asked me a few minutes ago what I wanted for Christmas. All that I want, Lorraine, is the memory of you in that mummy case.
Why, darling, oh, I'm all choked up. Dust thou art, and dust to dust.
Eureka! There's service for you.
Will she be all right in there?
Oh, sure. She could breathe easy. I'll let her out just as soon as we're on the plane. Now what's the plan? How do we get this out of here?
That's the next step. One thing at a time.
Think fast, Captain. Think fast.
This is everything, Sherry. I've made 3 carbons. Is there anything over there? What's in that bag?
No, nothing. Nothing at all, Maggie. Nothing.
Shall I file these letters?
No.
What about this picture?
Throw everything out. Wait, not the picture. Give me the picture. I want the picture.
The only thing I haven't done is put your broadcasts in order. Do you want me to do that?
Yes, Maggie. That's very important. Do that instantly, please. Yes, right away. Thank you, Maggie.
I'll see you before I go, Banjo.
I've got it.
What? Knew I'd seen this face before. Now I know how to get rid of that.
What face? How?
15 minutes, Whiteside. Time's up. And so are you, I see.
You're right, Mr. Stanley. 15 minutes. But just before I go, one small favor. I would like you to call those 2 policemen in and ask them to help this gentleman out to the airport with this mummy case. Would you be so good as to do that, Mr. Stanley?
I will do nothing of the kind.
Oh, I think you will, Mr. Stanley. Or I shall inform my radio audience on my next broadcast that your sister, Harriet Stanley, is none other than the infamous Harriet Sedley, who 25 years ago murdered her mother and father with an axe in Gloucester, New Jersey. Really, it's a very small favor, Mr. Stanley. Or would you rather have the good folk of Massalia singing at your very doorstep the charming words of that delightful little ditty that was so popular 25 years ago? Harriet Sedley took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. And when the job was nicely done, she gave her father 41. Remember, Mr. Stanley, I, too, am giving up something. It would make a hell of a broadcast. Well?
You are the damnedest man I have ever met.
You are a little late in finding that out, sir. Officers, would you come in, please?
Whiteside, you are a great man.
Right this way, officers, thank you. Mr. Stanley would like you to help this gentleman out to the airport with his mummy case. He's sending it to a friend of his in Nova Scotia.
Collect.
Right, Mr. Stanley?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, officers. Be careful with it. Banjo, you're wonderful. I may write a book about you.
Don't bother. I can't read. Goodbye, Maggie. Love conquers all. Hey! Be careful with that mummy case, boys. It contains an antique.
Sherry? Sherry, was that?
It was, my dear. Oh, small Christmas gift for you.
Sherry, you old reprobate.
My hat and coat, please, Maggie. I am leaving for Crockfield and then New York.
You're leaving, Sherry?
Don't argue, rat girl. Do as you're told.
Oh, yes, sir.
Mr. Whiteside, I'd like to apologize.
Don't
Say,
Don't give it a second thought, Bert. There has, however, been a change in plans. Miss Sheldon is off on a world cruise. I'm taking your play to New York, to Catherine Cornell. Miss Cutler will explain everything.
Maggie?
Thank you, Maggie, my dear.
Mr. Whiteside, are you very busy?
Yes, Doctor. Very busy. But if you ever get to New York, Doctor, try and find me. Goodbye, my lamb. I love you very much.
Sherry, you're wonderful.
Nonsense. Goodbye, Jefferson. You'll never know the trouble you've caused.
Goodbye, Mr. Whiteside.
Goodbye, Mr. Stanley. I would like to hear in the near future that your daughter has married a young man, and that your son has been permitted to follow his own bent. Or else. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Maggie, what is all this? Where is he going? I didn't even know he could walk.
Oh, don't worry about it, Bert. Don't ask any questions. You're too young to know.
Ernest? Richard's being